Hi folks, Adam Andrews here. I was recently asked what's the purpose of an education? It's a good question, probably worth considering. Why are we doing this as teachers and parents and homeschoolers? What's the end goal we're actually shooting for when we go down there in the trenches every day and go after it with our kids day after day after day? What are we hoping to get for them and for us out the other end? Well, a lot of people say something along the lines of a good job, a stable position in life, the ability to provide for a family. I think all those things are great, but I actually wouldn't call those the true purpose of an education. Those may be the true purpose of training, but I think an education is something different. The educated man knows himself to be a creature, knows himself as a human being in all of his limitations, all of his imperfections, all of his capacities for greatness and nobility. Education is something like self-knowledge, in my view, rather than simply expertise in a particular field of endeavor. If that's what education is, then the purpose of an education is to give a student the ability to know himself, to give him the ability to interact with the world around him and come to a deeper knowledge of his own nature, of human nature, of his own status as a creature of God. If this is the purpose of an education, then the activities that we are involved in on a daily basis in the classroom with our kids take on a real significance that they may not have if we're simply shooting for technical expertise or job training. This idea of education also maybe gives significance to some of the subjects in the curriculum that don't seem to have a lot of reason behind them when you look at it the other way. Things like theology and philosophy and literature and history, the humanities, broadly speaking, acquire a little significance if our idea and purpose of education is the creation of whole people who understand their own natures and see themselves clearly. Now you might ask, what's the good of an education like this? Suppose you achieve the purpose of an education so defined. What do you have? I mean, could the world eventually be filled with people that know themselves as creatures but also starve to death because they don't have any skills? Well, I think one of the advantages of a real education, a true education that's been properly delivered and properly lands in the heart of a student, is that he has the ability to learn, the ability to acquire technical skills or anything else that he needs. One of the things that you get when you know yourself clearly is you see your own capacity as a learner. There's a humility of the mind and heart that lands when you have a true education, that makes you able to accept correction, to accept training, to accept direction from those above you and those around you. In the long run, it may be the most efficient, most direct way to technical expertise. To begin, while your students are still at home, by focusing on this other definition of education, this other purpose of education, to give your students the opportunity of learning to see themselves as creatures made in the image of God and touched by all of the imperfections and shortcomings that go with original sin. Those are the kinds of lessons that we shoot for in our home. One of the reasons that we're focused on the humanities, on literature and history and art and philosophy and theology, all those subjects that don't seem to have an obvious place in the mercantile world of today. We think they do, however. We think that kids that grow up feasting on those things and learning about themselves as people have a real chance of succeeding in this world of technology, in this world of work. So, I don't know if that's a great answer to that question or not, but maybe something to chew on, something to keep in mind when you go back into the trenches and go at education for another day. Thanks for listening. Until we meet again, happy reading.